Okay, so welcome everyone to tonight's live business coaching. We are starting a series focused on cash flow. And you're going to see in just a moment why that might be the most important education that you ever had. Cash flow education is 1,000 times more important than your university certificate. And then you'll quickly find out that because there are many people who have PhDs and great university certificates, but they are not financially free just because they are not cash flow educated. So in the next 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on cash flow, just talking about cash flow. It's surprising to me how many people, grown-up adults, fathers and mothers, business owners, managing directors, general managers who know so little about cash flow. And so tonight, I'm trying this format with my mobile. So if you want to come on the video with me, you can request. I think there's a way you can request to come on the video, and then I can bring you. Didiamaka says, it's been a while. I missed your teaching, sir. You traveled. Okay, welcome, Didiamaka. The good thing is the recordings of all the previous days that you missed, also, they are all available in the gallery, so you can always go back to check them so that you don't miss anything. So we are talking about cash flow. Maurice Chukwu, thank you for joining us. Ray Hurst, thank you for joining us. Fumilayo Gunlaye, thank you for joining us. You can also tell us what country that you are joining from and then what you do, because we are building a community. Yeah, good evening, Emmanuel Obonna. Chioma Chukwuemeka. Good to have you. Okay, so we are talking about cash flow secrets. In the next 2 weeks, we are going to be focusing on cash flow secrets. And I'm going to share with you what I have learned myself from my own very difficult journey with money. And then also from the hundreds of businesses I have worked with. So at some level, we'll be talking about cash flow for some of you who own businesses, cash flow in your business. And then we will also be talking about cash flow for you as an individual and cash flow for your family. This is a very important subject. So let's actually start by defining cash flow, by making it so easy to understand. Okay, Atunek McDonald is joining us from UAE. You work as a security guard there. That's amazing. Betty Chikopa. Betty, where are you joining us from? Prince Obieze, Eliakim Young is from Kenya. Thank you, Eliakim, for being here. Olajumoke Koka. Benjamin is watching from South Africa. How possible is it to start up a successful business from abroad? All right. We'll be covering all those within this time. And then I also want to use the opportunity to let you know that we're finally ready from tomorrow to start enrolling for the next financial fitness challenge, where many of you would have the chance to interact with me on a closer level than about 108,000 of you who follow me on Facebook. Nanaya, that's Ghana, my second country. All right. Ask Tech Technology, Stephen from Ghana. Okay, you're all welcome. So let's talk about cash flow. I would just like everyone to please just cool down, forget all the big grammar and all the big things you've learned in school about money. Let's take it from the fundamental, because for many of us, the things we've learned in school, in economics, the things we've learned in finance and different places have not translated to financial freedom. Because if the things that they taught us in school were really that important, when it comes to our financial lives, of course, I mean, if you're doing chemistry, you're doing physics, you're doing biology, you're academic, those are really very helpful, those sort of things, or you're doing calculus, or you're teaching calculus, that's helpful. But so many people have struggled with translating the things that the school system taught us into financial peace. And mind you, my use of the word or the phrase financial peace is very, very deliberate, because I think the subject of money and wealth and riches has been greatly misunderstood by this generation. Greatly misunderstood. And people are pursuing money, paper, printed paper, colored paper, instead of thinking about financial peace. And so there are many people who have money, but they don't have financial peace. And then, as far as I'm concerned, financial freedom is no financial freedom when you don't have financial peace, that goes with it. So the point I'm making is, I was asking, and then someone else can help me answer that as well. If the things that they taught me in school were that useful, why is it that at 40 years, at 45 years, at 50 years, you're still not financially free? You see, because they omitted the most important things that they should have taught us, which is why the subject we are discussing tonight is something I want you to also teach your children. If you have children, I'm going to break it down in such a way that even your 3-year-old can understand it. Everybody in the family should understand cash flow. Your wife should understand it. Your husband should understand it. The children should understand it. It will make the family finance very, very easy. And then what I want to do in the next 2 weeks that we're going to be focusing on that will be focusing on cash flow, is to make cash flow, to make that word mainstream. There are so many things I want to bring mainstream. If you look at what the mainstream is called, mainstream for a purpose, because that's, it's called mainstream media, mainstream for a purpose, because that's what the whole world is flowing. And then many times the mainstream is not really the stream that you want to find yourself in. Right now, the mainstream all over the world, everyone is talking about P. Diddy. I don't know the guy. I don't even know his music, any of his music and all that. But all of a sudden, everywhere is Diddy. Diddy. In your different countries, there are all kinds of very useless news. What will Diddy? Well, so it's okay to know what's going on. But many times, not all information is useful information. What are you going to do with all that information? You are following up with everything 50 Cent is saying about P. Diddy. I'm mentioning these names because they keep on popping up on my feed, especially on TikTok. You're following up everything 50 Cent said, everything Cat Williams. That's how I got to know the names of these guys. I don't know them. Everything Cat Williams said, everything people are saying about Diddy. You're storing very useless information in your brain. For those of you in Nigeria, it is Very Dark Man and Bobrisky. What stupid information. Every single move and the mainstream, the newspapers of all the things that you should be feeding us, is about this guy. For those of you not in Nigeria, the Bobrisky guy is a cross-dresser. A cross-dresser. Just stupid drama. And that's what the young people are so immersed in. But then, if I call any of you, so you have all the details about Puff Daddy. You have all the details about Very Dark Man and Bobrisky. You know all this junk information. But if I ask you, what is cash flow? Or if I even bring it down to you and say, what is your net worth? Can you give me your net worth? You wake up and I ask, what's your net worth? Can you give it to me? And I ask you, do you have a budget? You don't even have a budget of what's coming in, what's going out. Do you have an investment philosophy? What is a philosophy that guides how you save money to invest for the future? You don't have. But you know everything about Bob Risky. You know everything about P. Diddy. You know everything about Cristiano Ronaldo or about, all these so-called celebrities. So many of us are so distracted, and the distraction is affecting our cash flow. Do you all understand where I'm going with this? So I'm just saying, these are the reasons why we have left the real stream and joined the mainstream of very useless information that is not adding to our bottom line. Then we wake up at the beginning of the month and wonder, how in the world are we going to pay bills? How will you pay bills with Bob Risky? How will you pay bills with Puff Daddy? How much is that adding to your bottom line? Okay, so yes, people like to waste time, like him said, on irrelevant things. For me, I usually spend time to focus on what will add something in my life. But society didn't teach us to think and question and consume useless information. Absolutely, I agree with you, like him. Very useless information. And then you tune into CNN. That's how they continue to pump all this traumatic news. They round and round every 30 minutes, repeating the same thing for 24 hours. And people are sitting down glued there. And they wonder why they can't pay their bills. Okay? Blackwood Caspian. Caspian says cash flow is you start small and compound money and reinvest it, and it will get bigger, and invest it to other assets. And brilliant. Brilliant. I love that. Thank you, Caspian. That's exactly, these are the sort of things that we should be working on and teaching our children. Not PDD, Bob Risky, and all these so-called, things. Yeah, Prince Waters is joining us from Liberia. Excellent. Prince Waters, welcome. So we're discussing in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about cash flow secrets. We'll talk about cash flow in business, and I'm going to teach you about the 3 levers of cash flow in business. Levers mean you can pull them to change things. And then we'll also talk about the cash flow levers in your own personal finance. But today, we are going to set the foundation, basically, to talk about what is cash flow in a layman's language, in a way that everyone, including our children, can understand it. So cash flow is essentially the movement of money in and out of your pocket or your bank account over a specific period. I would like someone to actually capture what I've just said, so that we can start with a very simple definition. You see, if you look at the 2 words, there's cash and there's flow. Okay, Caspian, I love your comments. Caspian says, I'm now at the 3rd income stream of 400K plus because of your teaching, and then I escape money vampires. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for letting me know that. Excellent. Okay, and then you're only 23 years old. This is amazing. This is amazing. So these are the kind of testimonials I want to hear, that people are actually taking this investment in effort that I make every day. You guys have no idea what it takes me to be able to do this every day. And not just what it costs me, what it costs my wife. Everybody just, to make this happen. But we enjoy it. And she's the one encouraging me to just go ahead, because after some point I was like, okay, should I just make this in like once a week? And then not only that, then you find all kinds of characters, coming to my post, to insult me, to insult me nicely and politely. So thank you very much, Caspian, for that testimonial. So these are the kind of things I want to hear. These are the things that give me the motivation to continue to do that, because in the next 1,000 days, if I get 1,000 people that have this kind of testimonials, that they took the things that I told them and then they made millions out of it for themselves and for their families. So I said that cash flow is the movement of money in and out of your pocket or your bank account over a specific period of time. So it could be in 1 year, it could be in 6 years. And then ultimately, when I teach you about reading bank statements, we will talk about these bank statements, sometimes done over an annual period. Okay. Now, so cash flow is the lifeblood of your finances. All right. So everyone type lifeblood. Type lifeblood in the comment section, and then also type cash flow. So just type cash flow equals lifeblood. Okay, everyone type that in the comment section. At some point, I would like to bring a few of you, like Caspian, if you request. I would like to bring a few of you to video, and then you can tell us one or two things. If I figure out how to do that. Okay, Caspian also says bank statements is difficult to escape to make loans for property. That is my struggle for starting business. Not a problem. We're going to deal with that. Yes. Akonde Abiola, yes, cash flow equals lifeblood. I want that to sink into all of us, okay? From Sunny Nkata, I hope I pronounced the name very well. I'm sorry if I didn't. Yes, cash flow equals lifeblood. Nanaya, cash flow equals lifeblood. Absolutely. Now, you know that in your body, if you remember your basic introduction to biology, we did the different systems in the body. There were different systems in the body. Can anybody remember the different systems? We had respiratory system, we had the circulatory, is that what it's called actually? Or circulatory system, we had reproductive system, we had different kinds of systems, in the body, the endocrine system. So the circulatory system is the one that involves, you can look, it's called circulatory because it circulates. It's the one that involves the blood. The life of every one of us is in our blood, because the day our blood dies is the day our lives die. And that's exactly the same thing that happens with us in our finances. So many people are operating dead finance. Dead. So the finances are not breathing in their lives. And this is the cause of all financial problems. Every financial problem is rooted in cash flow problems, because in the body, if your blood is not supplying any part of your body, that part of your body dies, because it's the blood that carries the nutrients. It's also from your gut, from your digestive system, and circulates the nutrients to all parts of the body. It's your blood also that carries oxygen, okay, which is the gas of life, and carries it and circulates it all over your body. And it does that every single second. So the moment your blood stops supplying any part of your body, that place dies. The moment your blood stops supplying your head or your brain, I believe, doctors in the house, you can also correct me, I believe that is how stroke happens. And then the moment that blood flow is blocked in any part of the body, it creates problems, high blood pressure, heart attack, and things like that. And I want to put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, that that's exactly what is happening in our finances. So when there is no circulation, when there is no cash flow in the different aspects of our lives, that is what creates all the problems in our finances. So every financial problem you have is rooted in cash flow problem. So I want you to type in the comment section, every financial problem is a cash flow problem. Type that. And I hope this is as simple as it gets, and that, you know, you are grabbing and absorbing this in such a way that you can pass it on to your children, to your co-workers, to the people you're teaching. For some of you, you know, who teach in churches and mosques and religious places, I think it's important that we begin to understand these fundamentals, because money is not a miracle. Money is not a miracle. You might receive a miracle once, but that's not how money works. Money is cash flow. So you need to teach your people too. As you're teaching them faith, you also teach them about cash flow. Every financial problem is a cash flow problem, because money is not flowing to that part of the problem. If you're having a problem paying your house rent, it's a cash flow problem, because money is not flowing to that rent. If you're struggling with paying whatever bills around you, it's a cash flow problem. So every financial problem, if you have to treat a loved one in a very expensive hospital, I learned yesterday that they have to move a particular man who's been very, very sick. You know, they have to move him from some West African country to Thailand. It's a cash flow problem. Now, what does this imply? The implication of this is, instead of trying to solve your money problem, solve your cash flow problem, and then you will take care of the money problem. So if the root of all financial struggle is cash flow problem, then it makes sense that you should solve the cash flow problem, and then it will take care of all your money struggles. You see, a lot of people are busy looking for money, or begging for it, or looking for who they will call to loan them money, but they are not addressing the cash flow issues. So no matter how much money you lend to somebody or you give to your friend, if the person doesn't have cash flow intelligence, oh, that's a good one. Please type that, cash flow intelligence. I've never heard that before. Maybe somebody else has used it, but this is new to me. Just type it in the comment section, cash flow intelligence. Cash flow intelligence. The best friends to have are friends who have cash flow intelligence. Oh my goodness. I never said anything like this before. I never thought about this. This is really good. Cash flow intelligence. So the best friends to have around you are people who have high cash flow intelligence. How blessed I am. I have people, you know, around me who have very high cash flow intelligence. My mentor, you know, who is 84 years old, is going to be 85 in a couple of months. He has very high cash flow intelligence. And then sometimes how you know people who have great cash flow intelligence is that every penny is accounted for. Every penny is accounted for. You will not see them on social media doing, you know, all this showmanship that people, you know, do who say that they have money. But every kobo is, every money, every naira, every dollar is accounted for. Okay. Yes, Lois captured it. The best friends to have around you are people with cash flow intelligence. Very, that's very significant. Look, even if you don't get anything, get that tonight. Because if you have people who are cash flow dump around you, you're going to be very cash flow dump. And so the reason I said that is that no matter the amount of money you give to someone who doesn't have cash flow intelligence, that money will go. That money will be wasted. So it's like pouring water on desert sand. That money is going to go. Okay. So cash flow is the lifeblood of your finances. All right. So where we're going to round off today, let's talk about the two types of cash flow, and then we can round off today and continue with that tomorrow. For 2 weeks, we're going to be speaking about nothing but cash flow. So there are two types of cash flow. I'm sure you guessed it right. So there is the positive cash flow and the negative cash flow. Again, let me simplify it. Forget about complicated textbook definitions. Positive cash flow basically means more money is coming in than going out. That is all you need to know. See, so the world is divided into two kinds of people, financially speaking. So forget about money, forget about rich, no rich. The world, financially speaking, is divided into two kinds of people. People with positive cash flow and people with negative cash flow. Now, so positive cash flow is more money is coming in than is going out. Negative cash flow, you guessed it right. More money is going out than is coming in. Which one are you right now? Where do you place yourself right now? Are you positive cash flow or are you negative cash flow? So everybody just type. Yeah, just type. And then in this, our community, we are very authentic. We're not trying to paint ourselves. We know we have good self-esteem, and we are not into fake life and things like that. So just type in the chat. Where do you see yourself right now in your finances? Are you positive cash flow or are you negative cash flow? In fact, this is the type. This is the only thing that being positive is a good thing. So if you're talking about HIV, or you're talking about COVID, or you're talking about some STD, that's where the positive is really bad. But when it comes to money, positive is good. All right. So, good evening, Sharif Umar. Thank you, Sharif. Malik is negative. Yes. I'm also close to. I'm also very close to negative. I think I'm more close to negative in the spectrum than positive, which is why the goal of my business is actually to be very, very profitable, to have over surplus. Okay, so Benjamin says, just wondering if Limca and Gold Spot were across the school fence when you attended. Benjamin, I don't get the joke, but I get you. I think you're talking about, yeah. Okay, so we have more negative. Now, let me ask all of us, what percentage of the world do you think is or are positive cash flow versus negative? So let's have your guesses. What percent? So if the world is divided into two, people with positive cash flow and people with negative cash flow, how would you proportionally distinguish both of them? How would you say what percentage would you give for those who are positive, and then what percentage for those who are negative? Is it 80-20? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? What do you think? Positive to negative. What do you think? Yeah, hello, Emeka Ude, welcome. And then Nancy Ayere, welcome. Let us know the countries that you're watching from. Saiful Baik, you're welcome as well. Okay, so I'm thinking that it might be, based on my experience, working with people from across the countries, and then even in America is bad, because many people in America, it's not been long, we came back from America, my wife and I, and then while we were there, I remember listening to a gentleman who is in the know. I'm trying to remember who that was, who said that 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, that if they miss 1 or 2 paychecks, that they will be homeless. They will be in the streets. So it's bad. So I'm actually thinking that people who live in the positive cash flow, who are actually the financially free people, if you ask me, I would say it's 95%. 5% to 95%. 5% of the people, very negative cash flow. And then, yes, I agree with you. It's difficult. Okay, it's difficult. Black would say exact global percentage of positive and negative cash flow are difficult to determine, but general estimates are businesses, positive cash flow, 30 to 40%, mainly large or established companies. I agree with you. Negative cash flow, 60 to 70%. This makes sense. Okay, so individual households cash flow, 50 to 60%, and then negative, 30 to 40%. Thank you so very much. Then governments, positive will be 10 to 20%, and negative 80 to 90%. This actually sounds very realistic. But you're right, you know, that might be so perhaps in the Western world. What country do you live? Are you in the US? Let me know if you're in the US. Okay, Blackwood, Caspian. Okay, so in our own case, in most of Africa, the picture is very, very gruesome. It's very, very not discouraging, because where you have over close to 92%, for instance, of Nigerians living under $2 a day, it's absolutely horrendous. So if 90% of the population are living below $2 a day, that's very bad. So it will vary depending on the part of the world. But if you're looking at what I see here, or what I've experienced in parts of Africa, I would think that it will be more like people who are positive will be more like 10%, and those who are negative will be more like 90%. But thank you very much for this data. That's very good. What we are going to be focusing is moving everybody from that negative to positive, where you have more money coming in than going out, and then you are able to meet all your obligations without stress. So that's the goal of the next 2 weeks, to understand all the dynamics around cash flow, so that we will be able to have more money coming in than is going out. So we're going to have a lot to unpack in the next 2 weeks. And so I thank you all for making the time to join the conversation tonight. This is where we're going to round it off. But actually, I wanted to see, first of all, because this is the first time I'm doing this, we normally use slides. Can you request, if you want to say something, if you want to add to the conversation, is there a way you can request for me to bring you to video, so I can see a couple of faces? So I think I understand that, yeah, for Kuro Islam, thank you for joining us. Let me know what country you're joining us from. I do have quite a number of people from Pakistan, from Philippines joining us. Is there a way you can request for me to bring you to video? If you want to come on video, ask a question, or tell us what you've learned today, or tell us what you would like to see more. Azir Udin, I'm seeing bring you on video. I'm not sure if you requested. All right, so okay, Lois, let's do that. Okay, Lois, it disappeared. Can you do it again? Okay, Reverend Energy says, I think only X platform has something like that. I think it is also here. I've seen it. So let's just try that before we close. Let's just do that before we close. Lois, I saw what you sent, But before I could click on that, it disappeared. MD Hossan Mola is trying to add you on video. I think I understand I can add as many as 3 people on the video. MD Islam. Okay, we'll try this some other time. We'll try this some other time and see how that works. Okay, so thank you all for joining. Watch out for details for joining the Financial Fitness Challenge that is coming up in November, but we will actually start sharing the bonuses in October. Yes, I'm definitely going to visit the Philippines, Caspian. Yes, I'm definitely going to visit. I have some travel plans, places I want to visit in the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah, so that's going to happen. So I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me this evening. I'm going to see you at exactly same time tomorrow evening. And as usual, whatever happens, keep showing up because you have no idea what's coming your way next. I'll see you tomorrow evening and we'll continue our conversations on cash flow.